All right, hello everyone at the Snowflake booth. Welcome to the Personify, formerly Virgin Pulse, Zelis, and ALTR presentation. Thank you for joining us. Sorry that the back row is taken so that you have to take a suboptimal seat. Today we have 3 speakers, which means our session is slightly longer than the other 20-minute sessions. We're going to be doing 30-ish minutes to get through all 3 of us. The 3 people who have here is Andrew Bartley. Andrew, wave hello. There we are. He is a Director of Data Governance and Management at Personify Health, again, formerly Virgin Pulse. And we also have Prithvi. Prithvi, wave hello. There we go. He is also a director. We were very happy they both had the same title, so there was no weird imbalance between our speakers here. But he's a Director of Data Engineering and Advanced Data Analytics at Zelis. And speaking of being zealous, I am Jonathan Sander, a member of the Board of Directors at ALTR and a former Snowflake. Can I get a whoop whoop for being a former Snowflake? None of the Snowflakes are paying attention. Okay, there we go. So what are we going to do here today? We're going to have a conversation about a topic very near and dear to my heart: security versus agility. Has anyone ever heard of the age-old conflict of security versus agility? Anyone? We got some nodding heads here. There we go. We got one dude looking at his phone, but the rest nodding heads. There we go. So what we're going to do here today is try to prove that you can actually have both, right? You can have security, you can have agility, and that's because in Snowflake, which of course you're using to move so much data, to make it useful, to make it do things for your business, you want to have as much data as possible getting processed by Snowflake. But if you're in healthcare, I think pretty safe to assume at HIMSS you're in healthcare, you are pretty burdened by regulatory and other security aspects of running any kind of data system, and being able to essentially get your security while you're also having your data as well is kind of like eating your cake and having it to stop that, reverse it. That's the way it goes. By the way, I apologize for the cheesy graphic. That's what happens when you let this guy design a slide. So to tell you about this in the real world, I'm going to transfer first to my friend Andrew. Andrew, I will bring up your slide here, and I will give this to you. I will let you take the speaker's position and go for it.
How prestigious. Thank you so much, Jonathan. My name is Andrew Bartley, Director of Data Management and Governance at Personify Health. I will not drain the slide for you, but a few months ago we were Virgin Pulse, and we recently merged with HealthComp, a third-party administrator. So we obviously cover a lot of different areas in the complex healthcare system. So for any payers, for any healthcare plans, for any large employers, we can probably help you out with something related to health and wellness. We can use our gamification of incentivization for healthy behaviors. We can help with care management. We are a cloud-native software as a service offering, so all of these things, we have apps, it is all in the cloud, we move quick. So if you have any questions about this later, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be here at least for another hour.
Big green button.
I'll get it right. The big green button. The other big green button. All right. So for the things that apply to a few more people, like many organizations,
you thought we were too well rehearsed. There you go.
Did I give it away? So many organizations here at HIMSS are going to have data privacy challenges. So we use Snowflake as our primary data warehouse, and we have a few challenges that a few of you may face as well. We have a lot of data and we have a lot of PII, 200 terabytes, so it's not a small mom and pop MySQL database in the background anymore. In this current environment, we have resource constraints. So every project you get is a project you get, and good luck this year. You don't get any more time, and you gotta use what you got to make it happen. And last but not least, oh yeah, I know I told you about this in April. It's gotta be done by the end of the year. We had an accelerated timeline where this just had to get done. You can't be cavalier with privacy when it comes to people's personal information. So ALTR was critical in us meeting all of those goals. We needed to apply data masking to that 200 terabyte data warehouse. We needed to make sure it worked for all of our internal users, for all of our reporting, that goes out to our external users. No small task. So using this graphic interface, not code, so anyone in this space knows that code changes take time, they take money, they take expensive engineers. Now you don't need to do that. These are click-through updates that your analysts, your operations folks, they can do it a lot faster, a lot easier, and a lot cheaper. So we applied that in 12 weeks, start to finish. That's because we weren't writing code, we were connecting two systems that were all cloud-based, and it was all configuration updates after that. The policy maintenance did not require new headcount, not even contractors, not surge staffing, so you don't have to call up your favorite vendor and say, hey, can I borrow somebody for a couple months to get this done? We met that unicorn goal of get the project done, you have no more time, you have no more money. And I believe I already mentioned this, but it is extremely easy to use. As you can see, those are actual screenshots from our instance. Nothing of any security breach is possibly on that screen, but it is a real example with useless acronyms, just so you know we're not making this up entirely. I am happy to answer any questions later, but I believe we have to transition first.
Actually, I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Oh my.
I want to underline a couple things here. So one of the things you mentioned a couple of times is that the people who end up making the changes using this UI, who are those people? Those are not engineers, who are the people actually using this?
Correct, yeah, so the data engineers are not the ones who are actually going to be doing this. So depending on your organization, you might have the CISO office do this and put this into their hands outside of engineering. You might choose your operations groups to do this. It is entirely up to you, and it's not a difficult decision from a tech perspective. It's all GUI based, so this is not going to take learning entirely new skill sets. This is not going to take language certifications. It's really up to you on what works best for your business.
And the other thing I wanted to ask, right, so you took the time to drop down the classification menu, which I wanted to also underline a little bit here, right? Because
sure.
you talked about applying masking policies, but how is it that you were zeroing in on what data needed to be masked?
Yeah, well, we had a lot of support from Chris and the folks here at ALTR. We ended up using tagging. We have some pretty fine-grained privacy controls. We needed to know the difference between first name, last name, address. Yes, it's all PII. Yes, it all needs to be masked, but we have some pretty specific requirements from our CISO and from some of our customers. So we really needed additional labels to get this working for our business. So we went through all of our 2,000 tables in the warehouse, those 200 terabytes, and we applied all of the tags in Snowflake. These are all off-the-shelf Snowflake features, which ALTR was able to consume and apply these at scale. So that was the magic button that got this done so quickly for us.
Okay, I'll stop now.
All right.
If you want to ask Andrew some questions, I'll stop and let you do that. Going once, going twice, or you can hold them to the end, that's fine too. All right, so Andrew, hand that over.
So I'll hit the laser button in your eye.
Yes, please do. Yes, please do that. You go grab his mic. No one's getting this mic out of my hand. If you hadn't noticed, I'm pretty attached to it. This is where we're going to hand off. You ready, Prithvi?
Hello all. I'm Prithvi. I'm part of Zelis Data and Intelligence team. Let's start with a quick introduction to Zelis. We are in the our purpose is to modernize the healthcare financial system for all, that is payers, providers, and healthcare consumers. So it's a powerful mission which helps U.S. healthcare industry significantly. So we provide a
think of it like a vape. Keep it about right here. There you go. Yeah.
We provide a modern and purpose-built platform which with end-to-end capabilities, to harmonize the healthcare financial journey. So I think just to add to that, we use advanced technology and analytics to bridge gaps in the healthcare financial journey and align interests across payers, providers, and healthcare consumers. So I think we do this at an incredible scale. We work with more than 715 payers and 1 million plus providers and 100 million plus consumers. An NPS score of 77 and net client retention revenue retention of 120% speaks for, how delighted our clients are. Some industry accolades on the right there, like, highlighting why we're also a great place to work at. This is about our group. Our data analytics team is called Zelis Data Intelligence team. So we use cutting edge technology to innovate, enhance, and enable our platform solutions, through our 5 pillars, shown in the screen here, to cater to full data lifecycle needs. So today we'll focus on the data platform and data innovation and intelligence towers. That is where what is responsible for getting the data from various sources to our platform, and then processing needed data to our warehouse and data mart. So that's where I think we being in the healthcare space, I think we have all the needs, security requirements with respect to HIPAA. We also deal with payment data, so that's where we were looking at how to secure our data. Yeah. So, what were our challenges? To start with, we had almost 200 plus tables, or so not 200, 2,000 plus tables in our data lake, plus number of data marts. So we had to figure out a way to classify the data, and then mask and encrypt the data. So that's where we needed a consistent and a structured way of doing this, and so this is where we looked at ALTR, and it is like we found it really tailor-made for our need. So ALTR's automation applies policies using our existing RBAC setup, like RBAC roles. So as long as we have structured our RBACs appropriately, we're able to use the existing RBAC and apply the policies without any additional overhead. So I'm very close to platform and operations, so maintaining it in the long run is a major ask. So that is where I think as Andrew said, it's the ease of use is a big plus, and it does not need any engineers to code or any of that. So your GUI provides for that, helps with that. And we're applying the Snowflake's masking as well as ALTR's format preserving encryption for all the payment and PHI data. So this helps us open up some of our data sets, restricted data set, to more teams. Earlier, for example, our offshore team we were not opening our data to offshore team at all. They could not use any of the PHI or payment data involved data sets, but this will allow us to open that up, helping us do more work from offshore. So, and as I said once again, user interface, easy to use user interface helps us deploy policy and maintain policies without any technical effort. Thank you.
So Prithvi, I'm going to do the same thing to you that I did to him, right?
Yep.
But what I'm going to start with, though, so there's a really techie thing on this slide, more technical than we've gotten before. Show of hands, who's heard the phrase format preserving encryption before? None of you count. You do. There you go. I was going to say, yeah, no, the ALTR team raised their hand. That's obviously silly. I was going to say they should have heard of it, right? So just real quick, though, for the other folks, format preserving encryption, I call it the Willy Wonka version of encryption, right? Because when you encrypt a phone number with format preserving encryption, the result looks like a phone number. The social security numbers look like social security numbers. The credit card numbers look like credit card numbers. The Snosberries taste like Snosberries, right? Like, it is the Willy Wonka rule of encryption here. Because the idea is that applications and reporting that sit on top of this data now do not need to be changed. Because you can imagine if you take a regular string or a regular piece of data, you encrypt it with regular crypto approaches, you get hot garbage at the end. Kind of anti-Willy Wonka there. And the notion is that your application may not know what to do with that, right? If it expects a phone number in a certain field, it doesn't know what to do when it gets this long, strange string, right? So format preserving encryption is the art of hiding data in information that looks like the way the information looked before. So that's what that is, right? It's a very technical sounding thing, but in the end, it's a very simple idea. It's just a very hard trick to pull off. Now, Prithvi, I am going to ask you a question. So why was it important for you to have format preserving encryption in some cases versus masking in others?
Masking is when we don't, that data is not key, right? That will come as masked data, right? Format preserving encryption, it helps us retain the integrity of the data. We're able to, do further processing with that data, so that's the main reason.
And also, this is probably obvious, but I do want to sort of underline it. Why was it important to get this data into the hands of these other teams? You mentioned the offshore team in particular, but was this a democratization project? Does it have to do with a broader operational need? What was important about getting that data out there?
It is both. One is that, if you have X number of member team, so certain percentages is sitting in offshore, right? So they're not able to, they can only do certain things. They have access, at this point, they have only access to lower environments where there's not much data, very limited. So they can only do the basic development. If they need to do testing or any of that, they need some quality data. So that is what it will open up for us.
So it's enablement and also acceleration, right? So they're actually able to get the job done.
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. All right. So here's what we'll do. I'm going to go to the next slide. I'm going to take us to the thank you and questions stuff. I'll give you an opportunity to ask any one of us questions. If you have questions for me, I'll be very surprised since I'm really just a game show host today. But I'll be happy to answer the questions nonetheless if you have game show host questions. But let's, tell them what you told them, right? Let's talk about the last point here, right? What we saw here is we had this no-code approach to applying powerful policy. And I want to give Snowflake credit where credit is due. When we talk about applying powerful policy, that's Snowflake policy, right? Like, we're not going in and changing the fundamentals of how this system works or any other system that we touch. We're using the power in that system as an enforcement point. What we're doing is connecting you to it with this no-code approach so you can more easily take advantage of that in all the different circumstances that you need to, right? We also are accelerating workloads moving into Snowflake, right? The excellent thing about Snowflake, as an ex-Snowflake I can say, is that it can do everything faster, it can do everything with more scale, but if you can't get your workload there, you don't get to take advantage of that. And if the thing blocking you is the security and governance concerns we're talking about today, this is obviously a solution to getting to there. And last but not least, exactly what we were just talking about, increasing the reach of that data, right? Being able to make more people have the power to use that data on a platform that's pretty easily reachable for them, right? Again, the power of Snowflake is they can make the data accessible to everyone if they're allowed to access it, right? Accessible. Anyway, so Alter.com, we're also one of the few security partners you can actually go into Partner Connect, click the button, and it will work immediately. Like 100%. He's laughing because he did it, by the way. Okay, so the point being, you can go into Snowsite today, go into Partner Connect, you can try this out, and there you go. You're good to go. So with that, all I have left to say is thank you, first of all, to Zelis, to Personify, formerly Virgin Pulse, for joining us up here on stage. Thank you to Snowflake for hosting us. Thank you to Ben, the AV guy, who hooked us up big time today. At this point, I'll open it up to the crowd for any other questions. Anyone? You can ask about Willy Wonka. I'll open it up. Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel Comics, the business at Zelis or Personify, formerly Virgin Pulse. Anything? Nothing? Going once, going twice. All right, well, thank you for joining us today, and yeah, that is all we require from you. Have a good day.